Hello E39 source. My name's Geoff and this is my 2001 silver M5. So a quick backstory behind this car. I bought it a couple months back, the beginning of summer. I was looking for a manual transmission car that was, fun to drive and cool to look at. I looked at originally a Honda Civic Si, some WRXs, but none of them really kind of captured me, kind of quite like this car did. And when I went on the internet, I saw it. It had been sitting on a dealer's lot for years and years. One interesting thing to note about this car is it has only 68,000 miles on it, which is fantastically low. There were some things wrong with the car. Like when I first test drove it, there was some weird knocking noise coming from underneath the driver, like the center console. The front suspension was kind of bouncy, and I'll get to the reason why that was later. But overall, the car was in fantastic condition, and I got it for a good deal, so I'm really happy with what I got. But starting with the exterior, the first thing you might notice is that the wheels are not the OEM ones. And there's a very distinct reason for that. So, as I mentioned earlier, the front suspension was a little bit weird on this car. Well, it turned out it was completely destroyed. So why was the front suspension destroyed? Well, if you come take a look close here at the rocker panel, you might notice that there's a bit of damage there. And at some point, the previous owner either went mudding with the car or something and took it off-road or who knows what, and basically went over some sort of large log and crushed the underside of the catalytic converters and the rocker panel on the other side, and probably damaged the wheels along with it. And when he did that, he probably replaced the wheels, but didn't get the right wheels. Like they were replicas. They weren't the real ones. And because they were replicas, they didn't have the right fitment. So when he put them on the car, the front ones rubbed against the shock absorbers. And he drove it for long enough while it was rubbing against the shock absorbers that they actually ground into the aluminum and leaked out all the damping fluid. So by the time I got the car, it was bouncing around like a Cadillac. I mean, it was crazy. And I didn't have that much experience with cars at the time, so I didn't know if that was normal or not, but I did notice, like, going over a bump, you'd sort of lose your stomach. So when I took it to a BMW shop to fix an electrical problem that I couldn't solve, they noticed that and they're like, whoever owned the car previously did something really stupid. These particular wheels are actually BBS RS GTs, in case you're wondering. As a matter of aesthetics, not many aftermarket wheels look that good on an E39 M5, but I think these ones fit the bill. I think they look really good. And I think that's part of the reason of that is they're that sort of similar chrome shadow color, and they've got the tuning fork appearance with the spokes, and they have the sort of muscle car lip that just looks awesome on an M5. So that's that. If we come over to the front, so as I mentioned earlier, the car was kind of in a weird state, and the front bumper was no exception. It was cracked in several areas, was rock chips everywhere, so I decided to replace that. I also added in the little sort of brake duct holes there. I think they look really good on the silver M5s at least. And I replaced the headlights with the Euro spec ones, which look fantastic on a silver car. Like, I mean, they look good on any M5, but they look 10 times better on a silver one. So really, really happy with these. The only problem is, and this is really my own damn fault, is I can't seem to get the fitment right with these little guys here. These little things. They always stick out just a tiny bit, and the bumper isn't perfect. It's off by like 2 millimeters, but whatever. Coming over to the rear here, pretty much everything's stock except for the exhaust. So in case you're wondering, these are Dynon exhausts. Just the mufflers, nothing else. Everything else is stock. The resonators, all that's there. First thing you'll notice is that they're just a little bit bigger than the stock ones, and they're a bit shinier and stick out just a little bit more, but they still have that staggered look, which is nice. In terms of sound, when you start it up on a cold start, the Dynon exhaust is significantly louder than stock, and it sounds awesome. It sounds like a sort of rumbling muscle car. But when you get heat into the system, that's when it really sort of comes alive. And the first thing you'll notice when you're driving it is that at sort of like, you know, when you're going from a stop to a start and you're at very low revs, it'll make this very loud booming noise, which really sort of fits the personality of the car. So moving on to the interior of the car, which is arguably the best part of this car, especially in the condition I bought it in, you'll see that everything looks pretty much brand new. It's the black interior, sport leather, everything. Like, I guess because it sat on a lot for so many years, it just wasn't used much. So all the leather's in great condition. Updated to the MK4 navigation system. Needed a new shift knob, but you know, those always wear out. Got the rear view mirror fixed by Radar Mirror, but it's the Titan line trim. The rear, in fantastic condition. Anytime I take passengers, they always compliment how nice it is in here. And yeah, I mean, it's just a wonderful setting. It's really comfortable to drive in, and I love it. And it's nice to see that there's no chipping, no cracking. The previous owner, or whoever originally bought it, wasn't one for features, so basically everything in this car is bone stock. There's no park distance control, there's no fold down seats, there's no sunshades, nothing. So whoever bought this car had the intent of just driving it and nothing much else. So it's got the fat fold down rest, which I like a lot. It also doesn't creak and rattle like some of the fold down seat versions, so that's a nice benefit. I also have a GROM unit installed, so I have AUX capabilities, Bluetooth, all that good stuff. GROM units worked out wonderfully. It's really, really clear. I'm not an audiophile by any means, but it sounds good to me, so that's all that matters. But yeah, overall the interior is in beautiful condition, so I'm really happy about that. Moving on to under the hood. The engine bay is just a tiny bit dusty, but overall pretty clean. But I had to do a few things to this car. I had to replace the mass airflow sensors on it, replace the air filters, spark plugs. One thing I did, which I would recommend to you, or to do if you haven't done so already, is the fuel filter. Because when I cut that open, it was filthy, and that's only after 65,000 miles or so. And it was in really, really bad condition. So if you're having trouble with your, especially upper end horsepower, definitely look into that. Like when I did the MAF test, I was only getting 90 liters per hour at wide open throttle in second gear. And then when I did this whole refresh, I was back up to 140. So huge amount of horsepower that I'd lost, I got back again. So I was happy about that. Yeah, keep the blinker fluid low for weight reduction. It's got a slight valve cover gasket leak here, but that'll be a DIY down the road. Probably going to need to replace the thermostat. It takes a long time to warm up, but those things aren't too critical now. It also needs an oil change, but yeah, that's the long and the short of it for my car. Overall, I've really enjoyed owning it and hope to never sell it, honestly. It's been such a wonderful car to drive and really is special. So thank you for watching.